welcome to my channel. My name is Doll, Dot of Love and Light, and I'm so glad you're here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm sending you so much love and light, and I'm receiving them from you as well, so thank you. Today I actually wanted to talk about my grades in high school. I want to talk about high school grades and getting into university. So I am done high school. I'm done high school. I'm done high school and I'm done university, but I thought it might be really good to kind of go back into my mind at that point and to see what I was thinking and what kind of grades I got that actually ended up getting me into university and how I feel. So, starting off with grade 9, I have to say, I feel like the first disclaimer that I literally wrote here, and it feels so true, is I literally feel like I had no idea why I was in high school. I was there because I was just killing time. I was told I had to be there. It was either be there or I wasn't sure what else I would do with my time. So I spent the first 3 years just being like, just shuffling around, having no idea what was happening. To be honest with you, even university, until I think my mom and the world started mentioning university, I wasn't even in high school for university. I was just there to kill time. So for me, it was like, oh yeah, I wrote here, it was just following the rules so that I can gain my freedom. I had no idea why I was in high school because I really feel like it's not really often explained or discussed, and so I just kind of went into it by force, by fire, and I finished. So grade 9, I really wish I can dig through for my grades to be more realistic and to give you the hard numbers, but I'm just gonna have to go with what I remember, and we're gonna have to, that works. So grade 9, I have here, I had no care. I just wanted to hang out and play around and meet the new boys I just met and to meet the new girls I just met, who was just so much fun. I just wanted to have fun. I had no idea what was happening. Grades did not matter to me. I didn't understand the purpose. I didn't care. But I will say I was always that student where I kept my head down, but not in like a keep my head down kind of way. I was really just, I was chilling, you know what I mean? I wasn't causing any trouble. I went to class on time. I did what I was supposed to do, right? But I wasn't really into the grades and into all of that stuff. So my grades were really low. I think I may have failed one class. I genuinely believe I was in the 60s and 50s and 60s here. Probably because I may have been taking a drama or gym or something. And so maybe I had 1 or 2 70s, 80s, something like that, but I don't even know my grades because it just didn't matter, and it was pretty not good, and it was probably in the 50s and 60s. And yeah, I do believe I definitely failed or was on the verge of failing geography. Yeah, so grade 10, pretty much the same thing. I was just there for the fun, and my grades were not any better, but I don't believe I failed. I did not fail. One thing I noticed after I failed the first year, grade 9, I was like, yeah, no, I don't like failing, and I don't really care for all the extra attention that failing gives you, so I'd rather just not fail, get my grade, get my credit, and go. Because, you know, when you fail, like when you do really well, you get attention. When you do really bad, you get attention. When you're just there, you get no attention. You get to cruise by and have a good time, you know. So yeah, I did not fail, and I got my grades, and I still had no idea where I was going, but I was chugging. I was getting there. Grade 11, and this is where people start talking about uni, and I was like, university? What is this uni people keep talking about? I really, honestly, I didn't know much about university. I guess in a way, my family, my grandmother didn't go. My mom, she went to college here. My auntie, I believe she went to like a college, university in Nigeria, but university isn't something that's echoed, you know, in the halls of our house or anything. But in grade 11, I guess my mom would my mom was probably hearing her people talking about it, so she was like, have you done your stuff for university, Eva? So this possibly, and I'm sure she intended on going to university as well, and like she knew, but I just knew it wasn't as big of a deal until I was in grade 11, and I really didn't know anything about it until really I was in grade 11, or I didn't care. It didn't ring a bell for me until in grade 11, and at this point, my grades were probably in the high 60s, low 70s, I believe. So again, I was just getting by, and then those were my grades. And I remember second semester, grade 11, was when I was like, university. I need to get into university. How do I get the grades? I need the grades. I need to do better. I need to focus. Oh my God. And by this, I never did homework. I never read. I just, before that, I just didn't do anything that I really needed to do. I did the bare minimum to get what I could do to get by. And so and then I realized that, your grades in grade 11 don't really matter. That is for people who want to get in like early and do all that secure stuff. I was like, oh, I'm cool. If I can do this again in grade 12, cool. I'll be back next year. So grade 12, I put in more effort. First semester, because this is the one I remember. First semester, I got a 79, and I was like, ooh! And then second semester, I was at a 78. So I left university with a 79, 78 average for first and second semester. I remember one of my teachers, I told her, I'm like, oh, because I got like a 78 in her class, and I was like, oh, why didn't you give me like an 80? She's like, because I'm like, oh, I'm applying for university, that would have made all the difference. And she's like, oh, you should have told me that you were applying to university. I could have probably given you that extra mark. But because at that point I don't even know what I heard, but I believed that you needed like mid 80s to high 80s to get in, and so on. And so I was like, I don't know if these grades are good enough. But I applied to 3 universities, and I was pretty sure that with applying to 3 universities with my grades, I could at least get into something. Now, I applied to 3 universities in my area. University of Guelph, woo woo, Griffin! That's where I ended up going. I applied to Wilfrid Laurier, and I applied to probably Waterloo. I think those are, my thing when I was applying for university was any town, city that is not Toronto, that's where I'm going. And Guelph wasn't Toronto. So literally, and I do want to be honest about that too, actually, is I did not put too much thought into the university I picked as well. I had 2 criterias. When I realized I had to go to university, and then I put in the effort to get the high 70s, which one thing I will say, not doing all the work for 3 years and then trying to do all this work in 1 year was very, very, very challenging. So I wouldn't do that. Or if you do, clearly it can work out. The other thing is I was strategic about the courses I picked. So I wasn't doing math. Like if I didn't have to do a course that I didn't like, I didn't do it. So I probably, if I was doing a science in grade 12, it's because I had to do it. If not, I remember I took a cooking class, I took drama, I took dance. These were all courses that qualified for university, and I took probably whatever other courses I had to take, but those were the ones that like rung a bell for me, and those really helped increase my grade as well. Because I also had to take English, but like English I probably got maybe a 76, whereas in drama I got an 86. So balance, baby. And plus I didn't have to do all the extra hard labor, and I still got into university. So I got in for criminal justice and public policy because I wanted to be a lawyer. I was like, I'm ready to be a lawyer. I'm good. So I got in for criminal justice and public policy into the University of Guelph. Now, how did I pick my university? Again, I had no goal. I had no university in mind from people are like, I wanted to go to this university since birth. No. When it was time to apply to university, I found a university that had the criminal justice degree and did not say it was in Toronto. So if it had those 2, I applied. That's perfect. If it had those 2, I applied. And that's how I applied for the university. And then I remember my dad being like, oh, we need to go see these schools. Like, you were supposed to go view universities. Again, I didn't know you were supposed to view universities. My dad is like, we're gonna go view university. And then like literally the day of, he's like, which one? And I was like, which is the closest? I was like, Guelph! I had no idea. I don't even think I booked anything. I just randomly picked one. I'd never been to Guelph, and so I was like, Guelph. And I fell in love. I fell in love with the town. I just fell in love with Guelph. On my drive there, I was like, this is so pretty. And in a way, probably one of the few times I think I've been like outside of Toronto, maybe that helped, because I really liked that small town feel. It was just like, you saw horses and you saw, donkeys. I don't think so. But you just saw like weeds and flowers and nature and animals. And so I was like, oh, I like it here. And it was less developed. They were just developing things, but you had all the necessities. So I was loving it. And then I got into the university and I loved it even more, because I noticed the university had a really small, tight-knit design. So all of the buildings, all of the schools that were related to the university were all within a really tight, small radius. Unlike the University of Toronto, Ryerson, and the other ones, York, they were all like spread out. And I mean, you still, because it's such a big school, you still get that really like close-knit school atmosphere, I'm sure. But I felt like it was so sure with Guelph, because it was like all the buildings were right here and all the residents and classes was in between, so you're always in that school mindset. So I fell in love with the campus. And by then, when I went to that viewing, I remember, I think one of my schools had accepted me, and I was like, I don't want to go there, I want to go to Guelph. And that was when I actually, because I believe before that, I'm like, okay, I will likely get into at least one university. For universities where I have to go and where I'm meant to go, I'm sure I will get into one. But then when I saw Guelph, I was like, it has to be this one. And so I waited anxiously until I got into Guelph. And I did love my experience. But yeah, ultimately, my video, I guess this video is just to say, if you're in high school, you're not sure what's happening, you're not sure what's going on, and you're confused, and you're maybe just going through it like I was, thinking, I don't know why I'm here, I don't want to be here, I don't really care. I truly believe you will get the most out of it if you pay attention. Like, I genuinely believed it, and believe it now. And getting out of it's funny, because I went to high school, I didn't understand the point of school. I went into university, I didn't understand the point of university. And then when I got into my master's, that was when I really saw that, oh, this is fun. Because I do believe the way that schools do it doesn't create the most effective environment for students to learn. And so you do get discouraged as a student, but there is so much beauty to learning, and you're always learning. And one thing I never saw in school was how everything was connected, and how one subject was connected to another subject, how one topic grew from another topic, because oftentimes it's just like, here's all this information and no one's really helping you tie it all together. And so I didn't see a purpose. But now I'm like, oh, I see why math is important, and why science is important, and why physics is so important. Like, I don't believe I took physics at school at all. Like, I avoided it by all means possible, because I was just like, oh, it's hard, and oh, I don't care to put in all that much work, and that's not where I want my energy. But I just didn't realize how important learning was. And so I hope more than anything you can see the importance in the learning, and the learning to learn, and the enjoying the learning as opposed to the grades. Honestly, if you can go through school having enjoyed learning and gotten bad grades magically, that's totally fine, because as long as you've learned what you need to learn, it's not about the grades. It is not about the grades, because I'll tell you, those 60s and 70s, the one class I failed, the one class I didn't fail, all of those, it didn't matter. The details did not matter. Today, I am a project manager. Nothing to do with criminal justice, nothing to do with high school, nothing to do with university. I did not study information technology. I did not study project management, but I'm a project manager, right? So that course I failed in grade 9, it doesn't matter in that they didn't ask me, did you pass all your courses in grade 9? However, the attitude I had in grade 9, my level of dedication, my level of understanding, my desires, who I am at my core and what I was like in my true nature, all those things still matter. Like those are the reasons why I get hired today, because of who I am, not because of the one course I took in the one grade or one university. So for me, I had always felt like in high school, though I didn't have the grades quite right, I had always felt like I had a good sense of self. And I knew I had a good head on my shoulders. Like I knew I was a great person and that I was on the right track, and I was just aware of what I needed to do to get by and the things to do not to hurt myself. And I'm proud of that today. And I feel like I've remained really true to myself in that I've continued to grow. I didn't understand, the thing was in high school, I didn't understand why I was doing what I was doing. And so now that I've grown to understand what I'm doing, why I'm doing what I'm doing, and how it didn't benefit me back then, I've truly just grown from an even more beautiful situation. Because now I'm like, oh, I see how that was working then and how it's working now. And if I just put in this much time, I would have gotten the result. And learning wasn't even about them. I should have just learned for myself, instead of thinking because they're not telling me and they're not doing it right, I don't need to learn. No, it was always about me, you know. So I'm proud of myself. Look, I finished. I still sort of technically plan to go back to school. I'm interested in doing my PhD. I have some really interesting research ideas that I'd like to explore. But other than that, like I continue to learn. I had to learn, like I said, information technology on my own outside of school, because school will only teach you the subset of things it teaches you. When you get out into the real world, the learning continues at a more grand level, and it can be only as beautiful as you let it be. So, this is awesome. This is my third video I'm shooting today. I'm so happy. I'm doing it, y'all. I did it. I'm doing it. It's done. I'm shooting my videos and I got a YouTube channel. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening through my YouTube channel. It has been so awesome. And I hope if you're in that position, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Trust me, it's gonna be okay. Just keep going. Thank you so much. Have the most beautiful day.